I once said something and others hated me for that. And I said that God was a ritualist. Now, you guys would remember that particular conversation that Dr. Khehlelezi trended for from Black Conversations. Yeah, it looks like he's doubling down and he's going to further explain for us what we didn't understand. Or actually, he's just going to actually explain even further. There's about 2 minutes of this video that I'm seeing here. I think it's from a channel called Real Life. I think it's written in very small text right now from where I'm reading it, but people have reposted it. The person who I'm watching it from right now has reposted it, but I think the original person who posted this, it's somebody by the name of Real Life. I think it's a YouTube channel. And so let's hear. I'm going to try and explain what I can, but I want to deal with the theological side of what he's saying. It's not so much Zulu. I don't hear everything. I'm Venda. I try. I've noticed that there are people that like taking issues when people get a language wrong, forgetting that person has tried even understanding their language. How many Zulus have you met who know how to speak Zulu, who know how to speak Venda? Calm down, my friend. Okay.
And I still say it.
And he's repeating that statement that God was a ritualist.
Straight.
And it is the truth straight on.
I will explain to you.
I'm going to tell you. What is isithwalo?
Isithwalo yinto ezokuphilisa noma ezokwenzela ama miracles but ifuna sacrifice yegazi.
So isithwalo, or this particular ritual called isithwalo, it's basically isithwalo. Sometimes it's like, if you are to put it like in plain words, like uktwala, like it, like you are carrying, like you are carrying. That's for people that are outside Africa that I don't know how to explain it further. And so uktwala, it means that one is spiritually empowered. In order for them to be able, they get ritual practice, or they go into being a ritualist in order to obtain certain things that they want, whether it be powers or whatever they think. In his case, he's talking about being able to do miracles and all that. But he says that there needs to be blood that's there in order for that to take place. And so the sacrifice that's needed there, it takes something that you really, really, really love. And so I guess he wants to apply, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, which is part of your lineage, bloodline. So wasn't Jesus God's son? So he's the only begotten. So didn't God give him, so in order to do this ritual? So what do you call that? Kanti, what is this ritual? So Sangomas get spoken bad, but Christians don't get spoken of bad. When the song says we were bought by the blood. So he starts singing the songs that speak about us being bought by the blood. But in that statement that he's just said, he's ignoring a very essential thing. While he's referring to God having Jesus as his ritual so that God can twala, he's ignoring for whom it was. When Jesus died, it was for us, not for God. And so that would make the sacrifice invalid. Okay? The Bible says not that we loved God. And he said that it must be something that you love. Yeah. No, the Bible dismisses that one. It's not your love for God. So it's not like we loved Jesus, so Jesus went and died. So Tina's 12. If he had said that, I would, there would be something to think about. But he's missing it completely, because Jesus died for us. So how is it that Jesus dies for us and then twala uGod? Do you get it? The principles don't follow. Now, what I'm saying there, it might sound like it's not answering it, but if you think about it, the ritual of uktwala, the person who does the twalaring, the empowerment is for them. So, what miracle did God, according to his thing, what miracle did God need to do that he had to give Jesus? What success did God need that he had to give Jesus so that he got atwale ngoJesu? So his idea doesn't make sense. Theologically, Bible-wise, it doesn't make sense, because the Bible is very clear that the death of Jesus was in benefit to man. The death of Jesus was not in benefit to God. It was in benefit to man, because man was the one who was being reconciled back to God. It was the means by which. So that part there, his idea falls apart. But anyways, let him explain further. Okay, singing song. So the song says that we were bought. So right there, it shows, for me, it says that he hasn't really broken down what he's explaining to the public here. If God is the one otwele, then why was the sacrifice for us? Why was the sacrifice for us? It was for us because we were the one that needed the sacrifice of Christ in order for us to have our relationship restored with God. Okay? And so, because that principle is not clear to him, he thinks of what happened on the cross as istwalo for God. But in his very definition, that the person who does the sacrifice is the one who benefits with power and wealth and featherance of themselves, they feather themselves, And so, by that understanding, therefore, what he is explaining falls apart. By that explanation, by the explanation that he gave. Because if God is doing it so that he can feather himself, the question that I asked earlier on was, what miracle did God need to do, therefore, that he needed to give Jesus? And to whom was he doing it to? Thank you. When a person twalas, there is a demon behind it. We are very clear. That's why people die, they what, all that kind of stuff. So there's a demon behind uktwala. So what demon was God doing it to? He can explain the rest of it. Yeah, it's not my idea. It's his ideas. He can explain the further part of that all khwajes that he was breaking down there. For some people, it sounds deep. They're like, ooh, yeah, I've seen that on social media. My brother, you are shallow. I mean, the people that are thinking, I'm talking about him. The people that are hearing this and they are wowed. Wow, this is so deep. There's no depth at all. At all. There's no depth. The problem is that when who's listening, you are shallow. Think. By the principle that he put forward, that the one who is doing the sacrificing is the one that benefits. If God etwele ngoJesu, what miracle did he need to do? And to who? And who was the custodian of this ritual? Ankiri, him as a Sangoma. if umuntu efuna ukuthwala, when a person wants to twala or twalarisha, whatever you call it, okay, they come to him. He's the one that facilitates the ritual. So who was facilitating the ritual for God? You see, the ideas start to fall apart. Yeah, that's why I always say, you want to understand the Bible, learn from the Bible. Don't take ideas from wherever. No, it doesn't work like that. You make a lot of mistakes trying to, if when you believe in uktwala, believe you're uktwalaring. Yes. But then don't you turn God into a ritualist just to justify what you believe. You know what? On the day of judgment, I wish to be there, just on the corner there. I want to hear, what do these people answer for the things that they are out here perpetuating or teaching. You're going to stand before God. What will you answer? Imagine, after accusing God of being a ritualist. Good luck. I don't laugh at how funny it is. I laugh at your confidence. To accuse God. It's the same thing that I said about Maponga. When Maponga was there saying that he looks at God, when Jesus' death comes, he looks at God and it puts a sour taste in his mouth. And I'm like, hey, when you stand before God, how do you answer to that? You just said God gives you a sour taste. There are certain things that you just don't think, particularly about God. This is not your equal. God is not your equal. Like, not even close. So the things that people say about God, they make me wonder. Do you know that you're still going to stand before God and answer to these things? So I laugh at the audacity. Because you stand before him. What do you answer? You impressed us. Don't worry. You impressed all these simple-minded people. You impressed the life out of them. That's why they are online right now. Wow. They think that is such a revelation. But if you really look at the entire subject, it doesn't make sense. We explained how. If you didn't hear, rewind the video. It's